Good news. Bad news. So welcome back, everybody. My name's Andrew and you're watching the Kelley's Country Life. And as the title says, today we have good news and we have bad news. So we've got a couple minor things going on in this episode, but they're huge things to us. It's all in that progress that we're talking about toward getting to a final and complete home. And these are those finishing touches that just start making it feel like a home. So if you just watched the last episode, all the flooring is done in the house now, really helping to increase the echoes you can hear. But once we get furniture and other things in, we should be good. But we also had a couple of other things going behind the scenes. One of them, well, we've got the stove installed and we have all the gas hooked up to the house. So, as you can see, propane, we're running. Brand new stove. I was so excited to get this for Tiffany. We caught it on a killer sale for Black Friday. This is actually a convection oven. Been wanting her to have one of those that has the fan in it. They cook so much better. This one's got the built-in air fryer, a nice big air fryer basket, and it's a nice Whirlpool model. We went Whirlpool everything in the house because I've heard nothing but good things about them. So herein lies the problem. Gas company comes out, hooks this up. We test the burners. Hey, we're good to go. Later that day, I was like, you know what, forgot to test the oven. Let's see if the oven works. Nope. We have a top broiler burner in this, and we have a bottom, regular bottom burner for convection oven and regular oven cooking. Neither of them will ignite. Gas companies didn't come back out. Obviously, we have propane coming to the stove if the top burners will work. What we have determined, it looks like the gas pressure valve in the back, it has two electronic solenoids on it, the plungers that open up and allow gas to flow to one burner or the other. You can feel them trying to engage, but they're not actually clicking and pulling open those gas ports. So there's a bypass that allows gas to come straight up here because these knobs cut off and on, whereas the burners have to cut off and on with those electronic solenoids. So our brand new stove that's installed now already has a service appointment set up. Not happy about that at all. I had high hopes for Whirlpool. Now we're already getting a service done. But that does mean, hey, propane is hooked up, so we can move on to another very exciting and very important feature of a finishing touch of a home. And that would be our water heater. So now that we have gas ran out here, I'm going to hook up the power to this. We can actually send water to the house via this valve through those filters for the first time. Heck, we could go take a hot shower if we wanted to. So we're actually going to hook this up in this episode, very straightforward and simple, to this outdoor breaker box right here and pressurize the house for the first time. I'm going to be around the house today. We could take a peek in the shower, make sure there's no leaks, nothing odd going on, and actually test out our water heater and make some adjustments there as needed. So one other thing I had the gas company install, I want to put a piece of rebar down and actually stake this in the ground better. But this is a propane, high pressured propane hookup for my generator. There is our generator plug. My generator is dual fuel, so now we can run it right off of this tank right here. And then the last thing I had them do was just put me a cutoff valve in place out here. So we are now plumbed up and propane is to that cutoff valve. So whenever we put in our outdoor kitchen out here, that'll all be behind cabinets. I can then come up with what type of cooktop I'm going to do. I don't know if we're going to do an oven combo out here. I'm worried about that, attracting a lot of mice and bugs and other things, or we may just do a really nice cooktop. So I would be curious to hear your thoughts if any of y'all have outdoor kitchens with an actual oven in it. Do y'all find that the oven attracts rodents, bugs, things like that? I've got some concerns about that, so we're thinking about just doing a cooktop only outside, but an oven sure would be nice. Otherwise, I guess we can stick with a gas grill. All right, so now I have power killed coming over to here. And by the way, I know y'all are probably eyeballing some stuff going, wait a minute. This is all temporary. I've been granted temporary hookup. That's what you're seeing. Things will absolutely have to change at the end. All right, so while it looks complicated inside these things, it's very simple. Two tiny little wires that looks like they're not for 120 volts, but they actually are. So you've got a hot and you've got a neutral, no ground and nothing here. I'm just going to run me some flex tube from here over to here, tie into a breaker, and voila, this thing is ready to power up, with the exception of a remote control that we're going to put on this particular model right here. All right, moment of truth. I'm about to flip the breaker, putting power to the unit for the first time, and I'm about to open this water valve. This will be the first time I've had full water through the system all the way into the house from the well. We have did pressure testing and leak testing. This will also be the first time running water through the shower as well. So this should be interesting. It's always nerve-wracking. Now this is the nerve-wracking part. Did I leave something open on? Oh, who knows? I'll be running back inside and checking again. Just did a full walkthrough. So if all the filters are filling up, it'll be pressurizing the lines in the house. I'll give this just a minute. All right, let's go check inside. Oh, this is always a nerve-wracking part. Do you run inside and see something blown out and water spraying everywhere? Now that you got all your flooring down and all this stuff done, you've got to kind of live in a house a while for it to, you know, earn your trust. I think I've did everything right. All right, let's see here. There's probably not much pressure on the system. I smell PVC glue coming out. So the air is coming out of the system. All right, that shower head. Running water in the shower the first time. Keep in mind I had the valve barely cracked out there. We have way more water pressure than that. Just bleeding all the air out of the system. So one other thing I'm gonna do today is after I bleed all the air out of the system, get it up to full pressure, I'll pop these decorative covers off the wall, take a peek inside with a flashlight, and make sure I'm not seeing any leaks. It's also a good time to check out the slope of the shower floor. You can see everything is perfectly going to the drain. That's awesome. All right, I'm gonna go outside, open that valve all the way up, send full pressure to the house, and we'll test everything. All right, I have got the system up to full pressure now, and I've got the gas on to the water heater. Let's check it out. All right, we'll go to full hot water. That is really good pressure. Let's see how long it takes to get some hot water to the shower head. Oh yeah, it's definitely changing. So what, 10, 15 seconds? It's getting hotter and hotter and hotter. Got to get all this cold water out of the lines that's been in the slab for, well, a year. Think about that. All right, so it took 10 to 15 seconds to get to me. Now here's the thing, it's not extremely hot, and there is an adjustment I can make in that right there. I had it close to minimum water temperature. So I think I'm gonna pop this cap off, and we're gonna bump this up because I have it set to 120 out there at the unit. I'll probably run it up to 130. Now here's the beautiful thing about the Rinnais. They come with controllers that you can mount just about anywhere. I did check, this one did say it's waterproof, and the tech that was out here hooking up my gas told me they mount them to the side of the units all the time. So I mounted mine right here. It's out of the sunlight. It's underneath an overhang. Shouldn't get much water unless we get blowing rain, but it's the sunlight I was most concerned about. So here's the cool thing. I can literally come out here and start bumping my temperature up or down, doing whatever I need to do. I also learned in reading online that you can mount up to 4 of these controllers per unit. So if I decide I want to drill through the wall, mount one on the inside of the pantry, I can do that. The reason I'm leaving this one on the outside is once you kind of set it, I don't think I'll be messing with it again. I may bump it up in the winter, down in the summer, twice a year, but these also give error codes. So both technicians that's come out here have asked me, if you would, try to leave one on the outside. That way, whenever we come, if we ever need to do any service, the error codes are right here. And if you're not home, well, the controller's not locked up in your house. But if you want one in the bathroom or in the pantry right here and don't want to come outside, again, you can wire up multiple ones of these, although they're very pricey and actually control temperature straight from your bathroom. Had I actually known about this before I did all the electrical and closed the walls up, I probably would have ran a wire to the bathroom. It was shortly after all that was completed, a friend of mine was telling me about putting one of these in the bathroom. I was like, man, that would have been a really good idea. But I really don't think I'm ever going to mess with it much. It's kind of a set it once and forget it type of feature. So something else I want to do in this video. Since we have this propane hookup for my generator, and I have yet to ever see if my generator will run our HVAC, central AC unit. I'm hoping that it will. It's only a 2-ton unit for over 1,700 square feet of living space, believe it or not. That's just how good the insulation is. And I paid extra to have them put what I call soft start on there. Some people call it soft start, hard start, but ultimately it's a capacitor that helps that initial surge of the compressor starting up. That's typically what trips most generators out. So here's the other thing too. When you run off of propane, your generator makes less power than it does run off of gas. So this is absolute worst case scenario. We're in Florida, hurricane state. We get tons of bad weather, power outages, things do happen. So this was critical for me. Let's see if it'll actually run it on propane and test this fitting now. All right, so this should be a fun little test, and this is something I have been wanting to do for quite a while. So this is my Champion dual fuel generator. I got this many years ago after we lost power in back-to-back hurricanes. I'm talking like 1 month apart. They both got us for days. Then, no kidding, we're in Florida. We ran into an ice storm a few months later that put us without power for days again and did more tree damage than both the back-to-back hurricanes did. It was a crazy year. So I bought the generator and we really haven't lost power since. Isn't that the way things work out? We lose it occasionally, but it doesn't seem to be out for nearly as long. But we all know it's only a matter of time before we get hit by another hurricane or something else that causes a pretty major power outage. All right, so I had the gas company just hook me up. This is your standard propane bottle fitting right here. So I could come out and run a grill here or anything that I wanted realistically, and I could put the same type of fitting on the front porch. Although I think I may put a manifold in on the front porch where I can run multiple hoses. So I can do a cooktop, maybe an oven, run a hose over to a Blackstone. The list goes on and on and on. I have a 3/4 inch stainless line run through the house feeding the front porch, and they told me that that is good for 1 million BTUs. So there is no way I should ever have enough appliances running on the porch that I'll get anywhere near that BTU rating. All right, just that simple. Screws right on. I'm gonna hook up to our generator plug, then I'll go inside, flip off the main breaker. I have a generator interlock switch in there, and we'll flip over to this and see if this will actually power up the house. And I'm gonna kick on the AC unit too. That's what I'm most curious about. That'll be the highest demand item that I have in the house. Now I know I don't have this set up good for recording, but what y'all can't see is there is a switch right here to go to dual fuel. So I can either slide this switch over and there's a cutoff valve for the gasoline tank that's on the top, or I can slide it the other way and then now there is a valve that I can turn on for the propane itself. And from what I can remember, this thing is relatively difficult to start on propane, but once you get it going, it tends to stay running just fine. So let's see here. So something else I am very curious about. I was going to buy a shorter cable because right now there's a 75-foot cable on that in case I want to put the generator on the front porch. So if it's in the middle of a hurricane blowing rain, and I want to cover it because I'm not sold on the idea of building a generator box. But a lot of people have said running through a 75-foot cable and then all through the house, you can experience significant voltage drop. Well, let's check that out. Got my digital multimeter. Right now it's showing 249 volts on the display. Let's go inside and check the dryer outlet plug and see what it reads. All right, so let's go over to generator power. Now, as y'all can see, this is not a pure sine wave generator, it's just your old cheap ones. So every time I turn on lights, there's flickering and flashing that you're gonna see on camera. Like, I really can't see it to the eye, but I already know it happens because we've done this before. All right, don't really have much running in the house other than a few lights, but let's just see if there is any voltage drop just due to the length of the wire. $246.6 volts. It is 249 outside, so 2.4 volt drop. I think we can handle that. Now, it may be more significant as we run things. So let's go over to cool, bump this down and see. We should be able to hear the generator really struggle. Let's see if it'll kick on our central AC unit. My HVAC guy, the owner of the company, thought that it probably would. System has a long wait period for some reason. Just realized probably what it is because we kicked the power off, kick it on. Most of these units have like a 5-minute wait before they'll restart anything. All right, so here's the cool thing. I just heard this click on, it says cool on, it's running. I heard the compressor kick on upstairs. I don't think I heard the generator stutter at all. I was expecting a heck of a pull down or some sort of a problem. Even running on propane where it makes 750 less watts, zero issues. That's an awesome feeling. So in a major power outage situation, we can still get hot showers. I've done tested that, pulls our pumping well. No problems at all. We have a horse and a half out there. It didn't even flicker the lights, I don't think, when it just kicked on our HVAC. That's normally what these cannot run. So we'll have to be smart in a power outage situation. We probably won't be doing, clothes and running the dryer and things like that. And if we're gonna go over there and kick, say, the microwave on or something that's high demand, like an Instapot or air fryer, well, we'll probably come over here and turn the HVAC off. So we're just gonna have to be smart about some things. But it's pretty awesome to think that that relatively affordable gas generator now can even run our AC in a power outage. There's nothing I hate more than the heat of summer. Hurricane just came through. It's 95 degrees outside, 95% humidity, and you're trapped in a hot, stinky home where everybody just wants to choke each other. We don't have to deal with that at all anymore. That is awesome. Another benefit to over-insulating this house, we got to put in a very small HVAC that a cheap generator can run. And to think, years ago, we were considering a whole house generator to the tune of like $5,000 or $6,000, whereas now a $700 or $800 generator will run our entire house. Awesome. I'm glad we did this test. All right, so in closing, I want to address something because I know I'm already going to get asked, and I guarantee you I'm about to say this, and some of you are going to go back and delete your comments because you've already put it down there. But everybody is going to ask, it's been asked a lot, and I'm going to address it again. Why on earth do I have only a 120-gallon tank out here? So the reason being is just what you see. I know a lot of people think there's huge risk of having a tank by a house is extremely common. I did not want a tank out here in the yard. I think it's an eyesore, looks ugly. You have to mow around it, weed eat around it. It's ugly. I'd rather keep one over here in the shade. So our rules state that under 250-gallon tank can be near a structure. 250 and above has to be, it's like 10 or 15 feet out in the yard. So then some of you are going to ask, hey, why don't you get a 250-gallon tank and bury it? Well, the guy who come out initially and set my whole service and install up told me that they've been seeing a lot of premature failures in tanks that are getting buried down here in Florida. think it probably has something to do with our very acidic soil and constant moisture and rain that we get down here. So that already turned me off. Also, Florida has a very low water table, so any tank that you bury down here, which you probably do this anywhere, you have to bring in a excavator or a backhoe. Then you have to put an entire concrete slab down in there, actually chain or bolt this to it, so this tank can never float out of the ground in a high rain event, because, well, it absolutely can and does happen. So you probably would have just doubled my install expense going with a buried tank too. Plus, I did not feel comfortable with him saying they're seeing a lot of failures, so I decided to stay away from in the ground. The other thing is, we had a 250-gallon tank at our last house with an on-demand water heater and a stove, same as we do here. And guess what? I filled that tank up twice a year, every year, and really it was just not fill up, it was just topping it off. That right there is going to be perfectly fine. Plus, they'll put me on a 3-month rotation if I want it. Come out here and top it off every 3 months. I'm not going to burn through 100 gallons in 3 months unless we have a major power outage situation. That's it. While we do cook every day, it does not use the fuel that you think, and these on-demand water heaters only run a few minutes a day. They don't use much at all. Now, here's the other thing. The generator that I just showed y'all, I plan on using propane as a backup source only, because what a lot of people don't realize is these engines with these carburetors and all, they need to run on fuel. That fuel actually lubricates all the little O-rings, the seals, everything. If you run strictly propane for a while, it's actually very dry and will dry out O-rings and components. So I try to constantly run fuel through them, gasoline. Not only is it more efficient, it makes more power. Propane doesn't last very long. It burns through a lot of it when you run it through a generator. So this will be a backup source only. Hey, I run out all my non-ethanol fuel that I have. Power's still not on. We just had a hurricane come through. Bam, I've got close to 100 gallons sitting out here ready to go. And keep in mind, that's gallons, not pounds. Gallons. 100 gallons is a ton of fuel. It really is. All right, I'm about to go grab some lunch and start y'all another episode. So while this one was a bummer that we had our brand new stove not working correctly, Whirlpool, I've done set up a ticket with them. Supposedly they're going to get a repair tech out next week. I'm confident it is that gas pressure valve. Hopefully they'll get it replaced quickly. Otherwise, I've done priced them. They're $89 online. I'll change it myself if I have to, but we might as well use the warranty. But there was a silver lining in today. We got the water heater going. We have hot water in the house. We did not see any leaks, and the shower is working, even though we technically can't use the shower until we get our CO. Yeah, right. We now have a working shower, so that's awesome right there. One step closer. Next episode, like I said, I think I'm about to eat lunch. Let's start installing interior doors. Why not? I've got a punch list. We got to keep knocking some stuff out. Catch y'all on the next one.